Good afternoon. Heidi Foy with Bullfrog Creatives here. We've got a lot of stuff coming up today. Again, we're going to be profiling another college, so stay tuned. All right, you guys, welcome back. So, for those of you that have been kind of following our little journey on Bullfrog Creatives, I appreciate all your support. We are still very proudly partnering with Cinch Jeans, and of course, always looking to create some new partnerships. So there's that little plug, just in case. Today we are going to be chatting about. I still am working on the logistics of how people sign up to do these and what information I get from people. So Shelby, I'm gonna have you unmute yourself. We have today Miss Shelby Winchell with Northeastern Junior College. Okay,
yes, ma'am.
Correct. I don't have, for some reason, there's not like a place for you to tell me where you coach. So
No,
I
you're
have to
fine.
do my research or pay attention, which sometimes those things don't happen.
Yes, ma'am.
So Shelby, let's talk just real quickly about where you guys are located. Just talk to me about the community you guys are located in.
So we are located in the northeast corner of Colorado. We're about, if you were to draw a line from Sidney, Nebraska, south about 45 minutes, and then from Fort Collins, it'd be east about an hour and a half. You'd find a place called Sterling, Colorado. That's where our college is at. The town is roughly about 14,000 people, and we have roughly anywhere from 1,000 to 1,200 full-time students in our residence halls on campus.
Okay, so since you mentioned it, we'll jump around just a little bit.
No, you're fine.
The residence halls. So I know I don't know if you've watched any of these, but I try to ask kind of the same questions of every college, just so that potential student that is looking, they kind of get all the same information and can compare across the colleges. So let's talk real quickly about housing. Do you guys require incoming freshmen to live in the dorms? And if they aren't required to live in the dorms, are there other options in the community for housing?
So they are required, freshmen are required to live in the dorms unless they have a residence within, I believe it's 30 or 45 miles from here. And then sophomores, they can either live in the residence halls or they can find housing elsewhere within the community.
Okay. And then I'm going to assume that with the dorm housing or the residence halls comes the meal plan. The
Yes,
meal
ma'am.
plan is included. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You're good. You're good.
We have, there's 3 different options on the meal plans. Typically, an athlete will have 10 meals a week with 150 flex dollars is what they call it. And that's to use within our Starbucks that's on campus. It's like a Starbucks kind of like a more relaxed within the student union area. And if you are in a residence hall, you're required to have a meal plan.
Okay.
So it's kind of in the same package.
I would like to sign up for a meal plan now, please.
Right.
I think
you
that,
need both.
Yes, I think that it's something that is taken for granted, and I would like one now.
Yes.
I didn't get one then. I would like to use it now.
Yes, ma'am.
So we've talked about that. Talk about some of the academic programs. I mean, I think colleges typically are known for certain programs. Or do you guys kind of have that same thing going on there?
We offer the standard 2-year institution, degrees as far as your associates of arts, associates of science, and your Englishes, maths, and so on. We have a large agriculture CTE department. I personally teach within the equine science sector of that. So we have equine science, agribusiness, production ag. Then if you were to go to what we call our North Campus, we have wind energy, and then your typical welding, auto diesel, things like that. So we are primarily I mean, the traditional, I guess you could say, transfer, meaning you'd go on to a four-year institution, and your terminal degree, where you would get your 2 years with us and then go into whatever your workforce industry would be.
Okay. What is the most, I guess, what's the degree that you see the most of on the rodeo team?
It varies a lot. I mean, I've had nursing students on the rodeo team, as well as kids within the ag department. We had a welder 1 year. Most of them, I would venture to say roughly 65% go on to a four-year institution, and the others either go back to their family operation or, get a non-transfer or that terminal degree and then go into the workforce.
Gotcha. Okay, so are you guys, is your school allowing on-campus tours?
Yes, ma'am. Yep,
Okay.
we are. We just got our county, pardon my emails coming in here. Our county just moved to Blue, I believe it is. And we have been able to do face-to-face tours the whole time. I do all the tours personally, and we've done that. We're also in face-to-face instruction as well.
Okay. Perfect. That's good to know. So, just for the college in general, are there any deadlines for applications for applying that potential students need to be aware of?
So our scholarship deadline, this is for institutional scholarships. So this is for mainly, I guess our target audience would be the freshmen coming in. So that deadline is actually today.
Oh,
There are and that's just for like our straight institutional scholarships. There's a plethora of them on our website that have, extended due dates and things like that. As far as admissions goes, we have open admission. However, our first registration day for incoming freshmen would be, I believe it's the middle-ish of April to do that. And I'll put a link, since we're live here, I'll put this form in the chat section.
perfect.
So this is an online form that anybody that's interested can fill that out. And once it's filled out, that goes to me. It has general questions as far as ATC score, what your ideal practice looks like, GPA, general contact information. And once I receive these online forms, then they're contacted and a tour date and tour or visit schedule is then set up.
So that's the first time that that's ever happened. Somehow that showed up in the private chat.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's okay. I posted it over in the
Okay.
comments for both the
Perfect.
YouTube and Facebook, and I can show it
Great.
in the video. It's so
Look at that technology.
crazy. I know. I'm still learning how to use it. So, so you guys, here's the link for what she was just talking about. So let's talk a little bit specifically about tryouts and
Okay.
kind of what comes from that. And now we're bouncing around, so I'm going to come back up and we'll talk some more about other things specifically with the program. But so I'm going to assume, I know that kind of the national signing day for college rodeo is March 1st. Is
Yes,
that
ma'am.
correct? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
For some reason, I always get March 7th stuck in my head, and I don't know where that came from. So that's
You're
today.
fine.
Everybody, that is today, which is also crazy.
Yeah.
Talk to us about your, I guess, your recruitment plan for the year. Are you filled up for the fall? Is your team set? Do you have more space? Kind of talk to us about that.
We do have more space on our team. We limit our team 20 to 20 men and women combined.
Okay.
We like to keep it small because we run our practice within what's called a circuit system. So we practice Tuesday through Friday. Monday is their day to like go to biology lab, get the oil change in their pickup, whatever life things they need to do. And in keeping it smaller, we're able to do all of the timed events every single day, Tuesday through
Okay.
Friday. If the weather, is nice, we're able to pull rope and dummies, ground tie goats outside, things. So I'm kind of giving you a lot of information here, but
That's good. That's what we're looking for.
yeah, able to, do that outside. As far as the tryout process goes, like I said, the application that's in the link is kind of the initial starting point.
Mhm.
And then from there, we do a face-to-face visit. You see campus, kind of get a day in the life, I guess you could say. Um, and then you actually come to practice. So you come to practice.
Oh,
Those
nice.
those athletes that are relatively close in proximity, they would then, bring their horses. They'd rope with us. In the application, you can see you need to submit videos. Sometimes technology is our own worst enemy. So
Hmm.
most of them just end up Facebook messaging their videos to me. And then from there, during the visit, we ask a lot of, I guess you'd say preparatory questions.
Hmm.
What does your ideal practice look like? Things like that, just to get a good picture. Um, More than likely, you know, I've had roughly 17 visits this academic year, and many of them ask if they can, come.
Hmm.
And then from that point on, then we've got the admissions process and things like that. So,
Okay. So we're going to backtrack a little bit, not a whole lot, but just kind of talking about that practice facility.
yes, ma'am.
Explain to me, I guess, where do you guys practice? And you already kind of talked about the schedule, but just talk to us about what your practice facility looks like.
So I will send you another link. I'll send it in that private one,
Okay.
and I'll let you do your magic there.
Yeah, that
Um,
works.
so we have the privilege of practicing at the Logan County Fairgrounds in Sterling, Colorado. There is an indoor arena that is used for academic purposes during the day, and then rodeo practice is actually a class that shows up on your schedule.
Do
So
you get
there's
credit for it too?
You do. It is a good
Nice.
GPA booster. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Anyway, so it shows up as a class on your schedule. Sophomores sometimes might have a lab that overlap, and then being so small, we can adjust, practice schedules to
Times,
kind
yeah.
of um, appease individual needs, more or less. But anyway, so we have the indoor arena at the Logan County Fairgrounds. We have two outdoor arenas and a racetrack that you'll see in the video that's within the link. The outdoor arenas, and racetrack are available 24/7. And I actually run the boarding facility that is across the street from the Logan
Okay.
County Fairgrounds that you'll also see in the clip. And that's where the rodeo team and the ranch horse versatility team, that's where they keep their horses at.
Okay. So how much does it cost for them to board at that facility?
At that facility, it is $300 per semester per
Okay.
stall. Um, you're roughly there about 4 months. So that works out, if my mind perceives me right, that's about like 65-ish, $70 a month, which is, I mean, that's pretty realistic,
Yeah.
for a boarding facility. And it's, a safe place to keep your horse. It's right across the street from where we practice, so you don't have the worry of, it took me 20 minutes to hook up my trailer and 10
Right.
minutes to catch my horse. Now I'm 30 minutes late, and yeah, and it's the practice facility and the boarding facility, as you'll see in the video. It's roughly about 8 to 10 blocks from campus.
Okay.
So it's close enough to be convenient, but far enough away that we have people aren't there that don't need to be there.
Right.
Mhm.
Perfect. So let me see. I got to pull my list here. So y'all are in Colorado. What
Yes, ma'am.
region do you guys compete in?
So we are in the Central Rocky Mountain region.
Okay.
That would roughly it'd be the eastern side of Colorado, basically anything this side of Denver, because Fort Collins, CSU is within our region as well. They have a rodeo team. And then kind of if you were to draw a line up to like Riverton, Wyoming,
Mhm.
and then up to Gillette and Sheridan, and then straight down, because Chadron State College is a part of our region, and then Nebraska is in the other part of Nebraska is in the next region over. So,
Yeah, and I believe all of Wyoming except for Northwest College, if I remember correctly, is in your region as well. So,
yes,
Central
ma'am.
Rocky Mountain region would be the home region. I know you know this, but for other people that are watching, maybe,
Mhm.
would be the home region for the CNFR. So the CNFR is in
Yes,
Casper.
ma'am.
That would be our home region. So I am located in Casper, in case you didn't know, Shelby. So it's my
Mhm.
home too, although I did not rodeo in this region. I do
Yes,
live here.
it's a great place. I was fortunate to be a college athlete in college as well, and um, I was able to spend many weeks in Casper. It was joyous.
Very nice. I like to hear that. Well, so let's talk about, I guess, what to do next. We talked about that. You said there are tons of scholarships through the school, which remember, today is the deadline for any of those institution scholarships. However, what does the scholarship look like for the rodeo team? And do they need to just go to that kind of talent tryout link and start there, or are there scholarships available from you?
Yes, there are scholarships available. We are fortunate enough to have a scholarship budget for the rodeo team. As far as rodeo scholarships go, I would say start with the application and build from
Okay.
there. In our private chat, I did put in the link for the institutional scholarships.
Oh, perfect. That's great. And that is the one that the deadline is today, correct?
Yes, ma'am. If you
Okay.
go on there, you can see there on the right-hand side. I mean, there's like this one, um, the first one on the list. It's a 500 to 2,000 scholarship. That deadline's March 12th. So I mean,
Okay.
there's a variation there. But as far as the big institutional ones, that is today. But I always encourage everybody to go online and fill out as many
All of them.
scholarships, because once you reach your quota, I guess you could say, as far as what tuition and that is, anything else you turn in, it gets refunded back to you. So that's free money, and who doesn't like free money?
Helpful. Very helpful. Although, so I just learned that there are some institutions that rent textbooks. Do you guys do that?
So through our bookstore, I believe there are some courses you can rent the textbooks for. Yes, ma'am, instead of buying a 200 and some odd dollar textbook.
I feel like either I wasn't paying attention or that didn't exist. And I'm going to just go with that didn't exist because I spent a lot of money on all my textbooks.
Yes, I agree.
So thank you so much. I'm going to pull this up again. So what does your guys' schedule look like this spring? And then
Mhm.
talk to me about kind of, I realize that things could change, but talk to me about what you expect for this fall also.
So we actually, our first rodeo is going to be in in Gillette, Wyoming. It's going to have Sheridan, Wyoming, and Gillette's rodeo together,
Together.
because we had to combine those two, due to COVID reasons in the fall. So we typically have 5 rodeos in the fall, 5 rodeos in the spring. This spring we're going to have 6, because we were only able to have 4. So that the first rodeo, so that one will start on the 18th of March. So it's coming up here, and then we go all the way through the last weekend in April. In the fall, we're expecting a traditional schedule. meaning we'll start the roughly second or third week of school, depending on how the calendar falls. And then we'll have 5 rodeos in a row.
Okay. So you guys expect to kind of, I hate to even say it, but go
Right.
back to normal-ish.
Normal. Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever
Whatever that looks
normal
like.
looks like.
Yep. Whatever that looks like now. That sounds great. So is there anything else you'd like to add that somebody should know about your program?
Um, I I mean, we recruit kids that are more on the timed event end,
Mhm.
specifically because that's who we can help. You
Right.
know, you want to, recruit people that are going to buy into the program, and things like that. Um, so yeah, we do all of the timed events every day, Tuesday through Friday. Anybody that's interested, you can find my contact information on our website there with the links that we've provided. And I think, if I were to give advice to a junior, sometimes sophomores are looking at it, but dang sure seniors, um, I'm speaking through my personal experience. We kind of have the saying around here that school is your job and rodeo is the privilege.
Yeah.
I, it's no secret that the rodeo team has one of the highest GPAs on an academic team on campus. Um, the academic standard is pretty high around here, and Northeastern is a good community to build that. It's a good place to get your feet wet, versus just jumping into a 4-year where you're just a number.
Mhm.
The biggest classroom on campus has 34 chairs in it, and I've never seen it full. And that's not because we don't have enough students. That's just because we value that 13,
That
14
class
to 1
size.
ratio, and that value of that personal connection.
Mhm. Well, and I'm glad you mentioned too, and we've talked about it, and I would almost venture to guess that we've talked about it on every college profile that we've done, is that it's got to be a good fit. I mean, it's one
Right.
thing if you are rodeoing to go to school, or if you're going to school to rodeo. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's got to be a good fit for you. And I think, we've talked about it from a structure standpoint, but also from a culture standpoint, which I
Mhm.
think is really easy to overlook when you're, sophomore, junior, senior in high school, and maybe you don't
Right.
really. It doesn't really make sense because you've not been in that environment yet. But
Mhm.
if you're a little more laid back personality, then going to a school that has a coach that is more structured probably is not going to fit you. And asking those questions and finding that information out in advance before you spend a year or a semester being
Mhm.
unhappy is going to be so important. So I appreciate you mentioning that.
Right. And I think I had an alumni tell me once. I mean, she's now become a dear friend of mine, but we were visiting, and I said, like, how would you perceive our practice? How is our practice run? And she told me, she said, Shelby, she said, you have to view every day we're in practice with you like it's you're going to a clinic every
Hmm.
afternoon, and and I always tell recruits, I said, um, your parents, your support system has done a great job at building that foundation. And all my job is to put in some fancy windows and doors. I mean, I think as a as a female head coach, I kind of get a little bit of haste, I guess you could say, on, well, she's going to change everything I do. No, I mean, yes, I was lucky enough to win the nation, tying goats and things like that. But it's there's more to it than just the black and white. This is my way.
Yeah.
There's more than one way to skin a cat, and there's more than one way to win. And if you can prove to me that your method works, like, yeah, we might tweak some stuff along the
Mhm.
way, but I mean, I'm not going to totally destroy you in 2 weeks. That's no way you make any progress. So
Yeah, for sure. And I think something too that's always interesting, especially when it comes to rodeo, is that it's different because you don't really have coaches while you're growing up with rodeo. I mean, you do, they're your parents, and everybody in the world knows that taking advice and being taught by your parents is completely different than the stranger or the coach or the neighbor or whatever. Like it's just different. And so, um, kind of being able to wrap your mind around what it looks like to be coachable and like how it's going to be slightly different. I think in rodeo, we also benefit from the fact that most rodeo athletes also have been athletes in some other
Right.
sport in high school. And so they know, they kind of get the idea what it's like to be a coachable athlete. And so
Mm-hmm.
bringing those skills up with them when they come into the college ranks is super important. But
Mm-hmm.
I would agree with you, like the foundation's already built. We're just going to teach you a little bit on how to refine that and maybe even, step up your game now that you're at this different level. So I so appreciate you talking about that. I think it's really important. Um,
Yes, ma'am.
so I guess if you have nothing else, I would like to reiterate before we leave that as Shelby talked about, I'm going to put this, see if I can find the right one. I'm going to put this link back up here. Deadlines, I can tell you every week we're probably going to miss another deadline for another college. So if you are in the game and you are on the hunt for a place to go this fall, you better, I hope that you're ahead of me in this realm, but get to looking for these application deadlines. I know, um, I think some of the bigger colleges, their deadlines are in June, July of the
Mm-hmm.
prior year. So for you sophomores, juniors, and seniors, kind of be thinking about that and don't wait to the end. My other tip is to be proactive. If you think that you're going to sit back and be recruited, it is not going to happen.
You have
Um,
to be your own advocate.
Yes, absolutely. I think that in the magical realm that it probably does happen, and maybe it does happen for some people, but don't sit back and wait for it to happen. You need to definitely be proactive, and the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And I can tell you that that never changes from now moving forward. You want to be respectful and you want to be nice, but don't let these coaches forget where you are and who you are and that you are still interested. So deadlines. Deadline is today. And we will also note that there are some deadlines that are kind of out a little ways also here at Northeastern. Just get on the internet, start clicking around, see what you like. Even if you are not sure, but you maybe find an interest, get your application in. Just because you apply does not mean that you've made the commitment to go there. It just means that you didn't miss that deadline. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so
And
Shelby, thank you. Go ahead.
oh, I was going to say that deadline for those that's for the scholarship based. As far as, and I'll give you this link too. As far
Perfect.
as for applying, this would be where you would want to go. And like I said, we have, you can, I mean, feel more than welcome to apply today, or even, up until the day before school, and
Oh,
this is
good.
for just your general admission. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Perfect. That's very, very helpful. Shelby, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate your time. I certainly hope I get an opportunity to meet you in person in
Yes,
Casper here
ma'am.
just in a few months. So, um, and I'll stay tuned. If we get any questions, I will direct them your way and make those connections where I can.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I see we do have a little live crowd, which is always reinforces what we're doing here. Again, if you are interested in a specific college and you want to know more about that college, just send me a message and I will do my best to get that coach on. I know we have a few that are scheduled out through the end of March. We're also going to be doing some other things. I've had some people reach out that want to use the platform to spread some other messages. And so we'll be doing that as well. Remember, the mission of Bullfrog Creatives is to build relationships in the Western world. So if there's anything that we can do to do that, then I will certainly do my best. Hey, you guys have a wonderful week and we'll catch you next week.